Recording. Okay, we're recording. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm sure people are going to, filter in, as people love to not necessarily be on time for things, but we get started promptly. So I am super excited my name is Erin Cacciolo. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm an executive director in Brooklyn, New York. And I'm excited to have partnered with a number of other executives to invite our leader teams to have a special guest speaker today. I'm super excited to have Rocky Preston talking to all of our teams today about how and why it's important to be a green director team by the 15th. Rocky is a rock star. I like to say that. That's kind of a fun thing to say. She's a senior executive director. She started in 1998. She has over $1 million in career sales, over 300 in career recruits. She hit excellence in all 4 categories last year, was a top 10 PROG achiever. Her organization has more than 43 director teams on it. So I think she knows what she's doing. I think she is a voice of much knowledge for us. And I know I'm looking forward to it because I feel like being green in the first half of the month is not only something we all strive for, but it takes so much pressure off of us all, right? Like if we're green by the 15th, then we could just rock it the second half of the month instead of stressing. And I feel like that's something we could all learn to be better at. So I am going to hand it over to Rocky and let her do what she does. I'm going to make you a spotlight speaker and you can run with it.
Ooh, I got to learn about that spotlight speaker thing. Because I'm always wondering, okay, where's that person? All right. Well, thank you so much for asking me. I seen Erin's post and I was like, you know what? I want to talk about that because it is something that I was fortunate enough to be at Barb Duke's director retreat in February of 2020. Little did we know, just right after that, 2 weeks after that, we would hit this pandemic and throw us into a lot of business. So, so Stacy Itzel did the training there. And one of the things she trained on was being green by 15. So I was like super excited about it. That's great. That's fun. But I feel very fortunate now because we had a lot of growth and now things are kind of getting back to normal. And so this training has really helped right now on keeping what we've built and keeping that going. And continue building, right? So, so Erin had talked about bookings, and we're going to talk a little bit about that so that you can be green, because of course it all starts with the bookings, but more importantly, your influence on how if you're at the director level, to influence your team to be green. And if you're an upper level leader, how your director teams then can be green by 15. So the first time I promoted to executive director in 2016, my attention was not on being green by 15. And matter of fact, I was panicking at the last bit of the month. So here's my story. We met our qualifications for executive director 2 months in a row, and we promoted, and then we never hit our title requirements again. And I just assumed people wanted to be paid at their director title and they knew what to do. And that 6 months that you get to, you have the title, went really fast, and we lost our executive director.
An attorney for brand released a statement.
Bouncing back. Oh, I'm hearing some background noise.
There's a TV on.
Mute, because I know Erin is recording this and people want a clear recording on the playback. So
access to high
Bouncing
speed.
back is not easy. And maybe some of you haven't hit your title requirements.
Deb, it looks like maybe you could you mute? I hear a TV and then I see your thing lighten up. So I'm wondering if maybe we should all mute.
Thanks. I was trying to go through and mute everybody.
So maybe some of you haven't hit your title requirements or have lost title, and your confidence in knowing what you know what to do, and your actions is so important. And I think that's where I got stuck. I just started doubting every single thing. But no, it's kind of like the ruby red slippers, you've always had the power. So that's just my first little is that you have the power. You have the power to influence your team, and you have the power to influence your organization. So, so let me just give you some stats. So, everything was rocking and rolling last year about this time. We were really feeling that gravy, right? We had bookings just falling out of the sky, people joining our team, people like hitting 5,000 in sales in their first week of business. And it was just incredible, last year. So now, this year, I was starting to get into that desperation mode. I had directors losing title. I myself wasn't paid at title, in the first time in, several consecutive months. And so I thought, oh my gosh, I have got to really focus. And we say where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows, you get results. So I needed to put some more attention into being Director Green by 15. And I, was doing this. But like I said, it was a lot easier last year to have the results. So this year I just took some, I started doing this green-o-meter, where I'm actually figuring out the percentage of teams of our org that are green by the 15th. And my goal is to get that to swing to at least 50% of our organization teams to be green by 15. So this does not happen overnight. You're not going to get the results right away. It is month after month of doing several things to change the culture. And actually changing the culture is harder than creating it. So as you develop more leaders, they will easily adapt to some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So January of this year, we had 7 directors out of 47 paid as a director by the 15th. So that was 14%. This month, we are at 29%. So really start focusing. This year, I was like, we didn't come this far to only come this far. And I need to really focus on this and not have it sometimes, some days, when I feel like it, when I have time. It just needs to be that system. So type in the chat. Okay. So before I have you type it. Oh yeah, go ahead. So type in the chat. How do you want to feel about running your Pampered Chef business? How do you want to feel about that? When you think about, I want to feel, go ahead and type in the chat. proud, energized, confident, enthusiastic, more proud, fulfilled, relaxed, excited. So organized, inspired, successful. Awesome, 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 awesome. And you know what? I hear you. And when I asked my personal directors or my director team this, I got a lot of the same answers. Not one person said, I want to be stressed, or I want to make people do the things that they don't want to do. So, right? So, go ahead and type in the chat now. Why would you want to be green by 15? Why would you want to be green? Lower stress, ease, excess, less stress. So we can focus on growing. Get everyone paychecks. That's exciting because the rest of the month is gravy. I want all my leaders to get the most for them. Okay, awesome. And exactly, I asked my director team this question too, and I got a lot of the same answers. Now, one more question. Type in the chat and be honest with yourself, your feelings on being director by 15. And here are the things I want you to type in. I always work on being green by 15. I have never set that goal, but I'm starting to think about it. Or I'm just happy to be green by the end of the month. What do we got there? Non-negotiable, green by 15, Erin. I always hope to be green by 15. Working on that. Happy to be green by the end of the month. I truly haven't focused on green by 15. Okay, thank you, Ruthie, for being honest. I love to be paid at by the 15th. Okay, so me too. I asked my leader team that same question, and I ask them every single month. But you know, when I do get those, I am just happy to be green by the end of the month. That does concern me because from what you said, less stress, and all of those things that you would have if you were green by 15. So we always have minimums. There has to be minimums for everything. But when you work into a leadership role, you want to change that as quickly as you can. Because there has to be minimums, for incentive trips, for programs, for excellence awards, commission levels. And it's tempting to set goals at the minimum. But you can just read in the chat what being green by 15 is going to do for you. What is it going to make you feel like? And what opportunities it's going to give you. So, working towards minimums will actually turn you into a manipulator instead of a motivator. Think about a time when you were working the last couple of days of the month to get 8 parties if you were in any of the programs. Gosh, I forgot what they used to call it now. It's executive bound or what were they called? Lead or lead plus. Yeah. Or trying to get that second recruit or the sales to earn a trip or even meet your title requirements. I can remember the times that I was focused on the minimums and I was very dependent on other people. I was begging, pleading, probably pushing in a way that I shouldn't have been pushing, and I wasn't inspiring or encouraging or leading them. So we're going to talk about that, your power of influence to influence your team, and some things that you can set in place so that your team is green by 15 and you can confidently set this goal and work towards it. Most important is what you do. The pace of the leader determines the pace of the pack. What you do speaks volumes. And I had some people, when I asked, why they wanted to be green by 15, is they said, because I saw you being green by 15. Or I remember you being green by 15 as a consultant. So they are watching you. What was the other one that they said? They wanted more balanced payday. So that is, I'm sorry, I just scrolled through too far on my notes. Okay, hold on, let me scoot back into where I was. What did I? Oh, you. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so on average, we need about 10 team goals to be green. And first of all, how many do you have? How many does your team have? And take a look at your calendar. And when I use looking at our team as an example, we start parties on Thursdays. So I'll take a look at the next month. So for May, I want to know that we have at least 10 parties starting on the 29th so that we most likely could be green by 5. And we're going to talk about, I know we're talking about green by 15, but we're going to talk about, not setting those minimums too. So if you're already a green team by 15, then up that. So we're going to take a look at, excuse me. I added some stuff. I'm sorry. I added some stuff and I was like, okay, let me rearrange this. Let me rearrange this. So, we're going to talk about a SMART system today, and SMART, take out the A. How can I support? How can I market? How can I recognize? And how can I train my team to be green by 15? So let's talk about support. What are some of the things that you can do to have that early activity in the month? Where are you looking? Like I said, for me, I'm looking right now at the 29th because those parties will be front loading that calendar. So if I don't have the 10 parties there, what would I do? What would I do? Type in the chat on some ideas that you can do to front load that system. Beat your director. Anybody have any ideas? A fundraiser. Shared rewards. Those are healthy right now. I love those things for upping the game. Drawing for people. Okay, here we go. Drawing for people who have parties booked that for the first. Okay, thanks, Christy. Host your own monthly party. Shared rewards party, 15-minute text parties. Okay, great. So now start really thinking about those things that you can do and support that first week. So yeah, the mega parties, the block parties, let's get your team involved, booking blitz. And also challenge your team. We know that if there's 30 shows booked for the entire month, and let's say they're all minimum shows, $200 each, how much is that going to be? Most likely you're going to be green by the end of the month, or you're for surely going to be green by the end of the month, and most likely green by 15. So I challenge you guys to take a piece of paper, find out how many shows your personal team has, and start that countdown. Start that countdown to getting that 30 show team, and then focus, what do I have at the beginning? So if you're not a 30 show team, then start there and then start to look at that very first week that's gonna get you green by 15. And then you're gonna go into your booking blitz. So how can you support? That's number one. How are you gonna support your team to have shows at the beginning of the month? And then the next thing, you can't just start this, you have to market it. So as they add shows, and you'll see in Director Success all the time, the booking blitz with the snowball challenge. And there's so many ideas coming from consultants, directors, about how to book shows. I don't want to talk about book shows, but as leaders, we just need to create the system, market the system. So publicly going on, and how does that look? How can you market how many bookings you have, and how can you recognize it? So SMART, you have your systems, you're going to market the system, and then you're going to recognize the system. We can't just do this at the beginning of the month and forget about it. And we know what they say about recognition, right? Recognize what you want repeated. And then here's a second part that I learned from Stacy: incentivize what you want to influence. So actually, this is probably one of the most important things that I want to influence, is being paid at title, and then not only being paid at title, but moving that to where that we're being paid by title by the 15th of the month. And then as upper level leaders, we're going to get that same no stress, exciting growth that we can do at the end of the month. So recognition, I think, is a game changer, a system for recognition. So we get paid an activity bonus every month, and that can be a lot of money. And if you're an upper level leader, you get paid $100 for each second generation director. And as an executive director, you get a $500 car allowance, a senior executive director, a $700 car allowance, a national executive director, a $900 car allowance. And at these levels, most can pay for their car with their overrides or their personal commission. And I'm not here to tell you to give away all your money. What I'm saying is that, what would you have when you meet this goal that you wouldn't have if you don't reach the goal? And that money is the money that I'm willing to play with to create the behavior, action, and culture for our team. And once you have that, you can stop paying for it. So here is what I do to market and to recognize some of these. For our personal team, I do a weekly recognition on who's green and what commission level they've reached. So every single week for my personal team, every week. I also then do on my personal team, who's green by the 5th, who's green by the 10th, and who's green by the 15th. And then I do a live drawing on the 16th for coffee. And so now I have got my personal team working on being green by 15th. They're working on that paycheck. I think Christy said something about getting everybody paid on the 21st. I am set up with front loading the shows. So I want to incentivize that and set something up. How about our directors? So our director page. So celebrating green teams on our director page. And again, we like to do 5, 10, 15. It's not just 15 because you're going to have people that hit 15 all the time. You're going to have those rock stars. And those rock stars then, when you start creating recognition for the 5th, now they want to be up there. And then other people see them and want to be in that group as well. My national director, Barbara Duke, does the same thing. And I know I don't want to not be in the group with the 5th. I want to be my personal team. I want them green by the 5th. And there's power in that, just recognizing it. You don't have to give anything. You just have to post it. So, so that is on our director page. Celebrating green teams, we call it. And it's when they're green by the 5th, I post it on the 6th. When they're green by the 10th, I post it on the 11th. When they're green by the 15th, I post it on the 16th.
Anyway,
and that's
people are just logging in on their thing.
Oh, guys, can you mute yourselves? Thank you.
so director page. On our org page, I do the same thing, but now this is our structure board with all the teams, and they're lit up green. And I'm congratulating them. I'm putting their sales on there. It's not there's not too many that I can't manage that. So it's also on the 6th, on the 11th, on the 16th. And then for my first generation directors is where I really want to influence and incentivize. Because what I do for my first generation directors will trickle down the organization. So for my first generation directors, we have a group chat. So you can see that I am putting this all over the place. So my group chat, I have a cash incentive for my first generation directors. And to get the cash, they have to do a couple of things. Number one, they have to send me their goals form before the end of the current month. So right now I'm getting their goals form for May. They have to they have to have at least one chat with me during the month. And we have to be paid at title for this cash to be paid. So you could do this if you're a director right now on a smaller scale. And I do use my car allowance. So if you're a director, you might think about your $10 activity bonus. And I want this. This is very, very important to me. And I do put a lot of money into this. But like I said, I'm not telling you to give all your money away. So when we do this, I pay out cash. And I pay, if you're green by 5, $100 cash bonus. If you're green by 10, $75 cash bonus. If you're green by 15, a $50 cash bonus. And if you're green by the end of the month, a $25 cash bonus. So Once we are consistently green by the end of the month, the $25 cash bonus is going away. And then once we are consistently green by the 15th of the month, then something else is going to change. Maybe then, it will be for our next level of to a national team. So those things, and I was really nervous. So I heard this in February, and I did not put this into practice until August. And because I was really, really nervous about the money, it scared me. But then I kept thinking, okay, what will I have that I don't have now? And so you can start it like, okay, we're going to do this for 3 months. It's not you don't have to do it for everything. You're the leader. You get to set it up. So 3 months. So we're going to do this for 3 months and see where that goes. And it'll give you some, cushion to say, okay, I can't do this. But I'm telling you, when you start moving that and you're having more shows come in at the beginning of the month, which excites people to shoot for bigger goals by the end of the month, you're going to say, okay, this is working. This is working. So I know it's scary, but I'm telling you that you want to incentivize that. So any questions so far?
There are a few questions. Oh, go ahead. I was going to say there are a few questions in the chat, but you guys
Just
can
to
ask.
clarify, are you doing a drawing of all those people, or every single person gets that cash bonus if they accomplish that?
At the end of the month, if we meet title, and they have sent me their goals form the month before, and we have talked at least one time, those are their, then they get paid. So if we make title and they never send me the goals form, then they would not be in for they don't get their cash bonus. Those 3 things have to happen. And first and foremost, we have to be paid at title for me to even pay anything. So some months, I haven't paid anything. Other months, it might be small, maybe 1 or 2 green by 5, and a lot more green by 15, or green by the end of the month. So, but I do put my money where my mouth is, like I want, and at each level is different, but at this level, I am willing to invest that back into my business to get us consistent and to move us to the next level. And what I'm seeing is the leaders now that are developing their teams, their new directors are green by 15 faster than my kind of older directors that are in my first gen. So what's happening is it's trickling down. And I've been doing this August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, for 8 months now, that incentive.
Rocky, I have to just say this is genius in the things that you're requiring, because I know personally, probably everybody would attest to this. If I don't really look at what I want my goals to be for the next month, that's when I'm in catch-up mode. So this is helping our leaders do that same thing. So that's part of the incentive too, not just scrambling at the last minute to be green. So it really is building them up for success. At the same time, it's the whole organization. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. I will share my screen for this goals form, because as a leader, it gives you, and again, if you're a director, you can scale this down. You really can to make it where you are and make it work for your team. But I will share what they get. So first, last name, their personal sales goal, and what their show schedule is for the next month. I want to know that first week. This is for your director. This could be for your team member too, if you're a director. First week, 1, 2, 3, 4 or more, none, but I'm working on it. Their recruiting goal. First week, 1, 2 or more, I'm not sure, I need help. Their personal team sales goal. How many team shows will close this month, including yours? So there again, I'm wanting to know, do they have 30 or more shows? Their organization sales goal, and this is my favorite, one of my favorites. My goal is to be Director Green by, and then I remind them, 750 in personal sales, 5,000 in personal team sales. By the 5th, if you're going to get $100 bonus. By the 10th, you're going to get a $75 bonus. By the 15th, you're going to get a $50 bonus, and by the end of the month, $25 bonus. And then bonuses will be paid when we have at least 9 green teams for the month and you have filled out this form. You might have to be more specific on this, but my second and third generation director, second and third generations are very hardy, and I don't need to spell it out that I need to have the structure all the way down. It is my first gen that, and maybe you all can agree, is the first gen that we have the most struggle with, because there's only one of us. There's only one of us that can influence that. And, you know, your second gen, you have a lot of people that are influencing that second gen and third gen. Personal team recruiting goal, organization recruiting goal. My goal is to earn. How much money do they want to earn? And why is this income important to you? My goal is to be paid at this level this month. So I want to know, are they just trying to keep their title, or have they set their sights on a higher title? Are they working for a promotion? I think these 2 consultants can promote this month to director. I think these 2 consultants could promote next month. And their trip goal, have they looked at that? Where are the points coming from? You know, are they tracking their trip? And I would like this title by national conference. Once a couple months passed, I will change this to, I would like this title by the end of the year. And then here I just put in my Calendly link so they can set up their monthly chat. And I say 1, they can do more if they'd like. And the people that have weekly chats with me have the best businesses. So that's the Google form I use. And it really is kind of hitting the ball back in their court. They probably don't think about this very much. I know I don't. I am just, you know, scratching things off my list to do. But, you know, it's time to take a second, fill out your goals, and think about the next month before we're in the next month.
Rocky, would
So
you
let's
share
see.
your goal with us? Would you share that goal form, or share it with
Sure.
me and I could share it with them, maybe a copy of
Yes.
it so people don't
Mhm.
fill it out and
Yeah.
get you their responses?
Yeah, for sure. So let's see. Let me look at the chat here. Okay.
I was just clarifying, this was your first gen, right? Your first gen directors get the
Yes.
form and have the one-on-one. Okay.
Yes. And so then my first gen will then do the same thing with their first gen. And so that when there's a new director and, you know, maybe she has a first and a second and that's all just 1 and 1, then of course, you know, you got to kind of think about it, and it's smarter for her to work with both leaders. But there's going to become a time, you know, right around senior director, there is that, you know, you're working with your first gen only, and then they work with their first gen. Let's see, link, form cash. The form and cash is for your first gen. Yes, I will share that. I will give it to Erin and then she can share it. Stacy says Nat Exec green by month end is for all green directors. So I think what she's saying, so it's $100 if they're green by 5, and people go nuts over that. They want their name in that first column. Green by 5, 100 green by 5, 75 green by 10, 50 green by 15, and 25 for everybody that's green by the end of the month if they've done everything else. But that one is really going to go pretty soon, and it's just going to, so I'm starting to whittle away because we are moving in that direction.
Yeah, sorry, what I was trying to clarify was if you did the different amounts or if it was like when you hit your senior executive, right?
Yes, when I'm paid, when I'm paid at title senior executive.
Yeah, so when you hit senior executive, you don't have to be senior executive by the 15th for the people to earn that money. It just has to be by the end of the month at this time. And then you do the different nominations. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So you can see though, pretty soon, that's my goal is to be senior executive director paid by the 15th as well. We're encouraging our teams to be green by 15. And when that becomes, and you're not working to minimums, you have enough teams that can do that, then, your business is not stressful. Your business is, you're able to build and grow. So I'm going to check my notes again to see if I left anything off, and if there's anything you want to see in actual form, we can do that as well. Okay, let me start at the beginning.
Rocky, when you get a chance, I would love to see the screen on how you recognize that, like you said, the column for green by 5, green by 10, green by 15. I'd like to see how you lay that out when you do your recognition.
Okay. So there is 2 more things that I forgot is the creating your system. And here's what I do. Okay, let me get my Canva up. Okay. Okay. So here is just something that I do by green by 15. This goes on my director page. And so, the 5th, that'll be there, the 10th, the 15th will be there, and then that's it. And I do them on the 6th. I post it on the 6th, the 11th, and the 16th. And then, my internet's a little bit slow, so I keep these just because I like to, I just copy it. So this is my January, my February, my March, so April. So it's just my org board. I post this on my organization. Let me see if I can do something else that might show you a little bit better. Okay. So here's my post. Wow, we have 7 green teams out of 43 that have exceeded their, oh, this is April 12th. This is April 12th. Why is, oh, this is after the 11th. Okay, so let me get, maybe it's this one. But anyways, nope, it's not that one. It should be. I don't know where the 16th, somebody must have, yeah, we have passed the 16th. So, but I usually have my greenometer on here where we are as percentage wise. And so then I just post everybody that's been over 5,000 and, you know, we carry on the rest of the month. And then last but not least, is the cash. So here I just say, and I do keep this too every month because I like to go back and see what's happening. So September, August. Oh, this is when I first started it. Remember I said I started it in August, September, October. So let's just, so be a director green team by the 5th, 10th, or end of the month. I must have missed something there. Whoa. Oh, send me your Google form. That one must have been off of the other one, but everybody kind of knows now they have to send me their Google form, be a director green team by that. And we were going for a national title, so I bumped up their requirement. But I'm back to like, let's just get our ducks in a row again before we go to that. So that's just what that is. And I only message this. We have a group message chat, and this is the only place I post this right here. Any questions on that? So I did say there was one more thing that I wanted to share, and that was, creating your own system. So how are you going to create your own system to influence your team or your organization to be green by 15? And I love this. Just ask yourself, how can I? How can I create a culture to be green by 15? And some may be looking for a way to front load your calendar. So start there. Maybe you yourself don't have a strong show schedule. So start there. How can I have a stronger beginning of the month? And then make a list of every single thing that pops in your head. And over the course of a few days, keep asking yourself, how can I create a culture to be green by 15? Things are going to start popping into your head, and you just keep writing them down, writing them down. There are going to be all kinds of things that pop into your head. You're going to make a list, and then you're going to be very specific on those tasks. And then you want to organize the list in calendar form and how frequent you want to do that task, recognize it. And this is just not one thing. It's part of a system, an overall system of your business, of our business. So, you know, the systems are, you know, selling, booking, selling, recruiting, booking, selling, recruiting. All of those systems have to be in place as well. And you can do the same thing with that. How can I book more shows? How can my team book more shows? How can we reach this recruiting goal? But ask yourself, and then you want to train on it. So for us, we train right from the beginning 4 parties every week, and we give them the confidence that yes, you can do 4 parties a week. Is it going to be stressful in the beginning? Heck yeah. But when I go to the gym every few years for the first time, it's stressful and it's hard and I don't like it. But when I start seeing results, when I start feeling better, when I can walk, and not be out of breath, it's worth it. And you'll get better and better and better. We train on every 4, add 1 more. We talk about that. We recognize it. We talk about the payday on the 21st. That's a big deal, to have a payday on the 21st, and who's getting paid. What has your payday helped you have that you didn't have before? And people put, oh, I just did this. My daughter's birthday party's coming up, and we paid for that, or whatever they say, and ask them and let them fill that out, but focus that 21st payday. And promote, when your new directors promote, work on promoting them by the 15th or the 20th of the month. And then they're already on that cycle, to be green. So we say, okay, let's get all your new team members on, make a plan, and I bet you can promote by the 15th of next month. So that's all I got, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm thanking you from myself. I took off your spotlight, so you're not looking at your big head anymore unless you want to. I always am like, oh my God, I don't want to look at myself anymore. Thank you so much. I could tell you, me personally, I just took a ton of notes and drew, I think, what I call like kindergarten sketches of the graphics that I want to implement. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Rocky? Lots of comments of thank you and thank you and thank you in the chat. So
I always forget about the chat.
me too, until I see all the red bubbles popping up. But I know Kathy had asked how you would implement your systems for a director, not an upper level director. I mean, I gave her some ideas, but I'd like to hear from you how you would adapt this down to the director level while we have a couple minutes left, like 5 minutes.
Yeah, so if I have a new director, I just say, you know what, you got to keep doing the things that you did to get you here. So where are you going to be by the 15th? I always put it on the leader. I really do. More focus on what the leader is. I don't want them being dependent on their team. Because then you get into that, well, my team isn't, Well, what about you? What if you are? What if you are green by 15 all by yourself? How much money do you want to make? Or how much of that 5,000 do you want to do by the 15th? So I would put it back on my leader and then just have her do the same simple things about having her team green by 15, not incentivizing, but just recognize who's paid on the 21st. Let them tell what they did with their money, how that helped their family. What was the other one? And just coach their team to 4 shows a week. The training of their team and to do what they're doing, exactly what they're doing. So.
I know I have so many takeaways that I'm planning on implementing, and I hope that everybody else on the call feels the same. I thank you so much for your time. I know it's the morning there. You're just getting yourself going for the day. A lot of us on the East Coast are getting ready to pick up our afternoons here. I got to run and pick my kids up. But does anyone else have any other questions for Rocky before we let her go? No, nobody else. All right. Yes. Again, thank you, Rocky. I very, very much appreciate you taking the time out of your day to speak to all of us and give us all of the amazing wisdom that you have in that head of yours.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Let's all be green by 15.
Awesome. All right, guys, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.